So welcome everyone to the Redox Health Movement. I'm Sean.
Francesca.
Ricardo here with you.
Dr. Carr.
Great to see everybody, and so really glad that you joined us. We are privileged to have Dr. Lisa Carr, who is a board-certified naturopathic doctor, join us today. She has her practice in Buford, Georgia, and it's called the Essential Wellness Advantage. And she's going to talk to us a little bit about how she got started with ASEA, what she's seen personally, and what she's seen in her practice. So thank you for joining us, Dr. Carr. And one of the first questions we'd love to know is if you had any kind of health challenges or issues yourself, was that one of the reasons why you joined and got involved with ASEA, and what was your life before?
I mean, I guess that question is a little different for me because I do see clients. But I've been a part of the natural community and holistic life for probably a good 15 years. So in all honesty, any issues that I would have would be kind of underlining, and that's where my live blood microscopy would come in, or my scanning would come in, because I don't get headaches, I don't have pain, I don't have any discomfort. But I probably would have, the reason why I would take something like this to be proactive. So I'm looking 10 years, I want to be playing with my grandkids. I want to be able to get up off the floor. I want to have that freedom of movement. I want to have a good, compete if I want to. I'm an old track runner, so every now and again I like to run in a race. And so I really got it for myself to improve my health and keep my health at a level where I'm going to be able to live a vibrant life.
That's great. That's great.
Now, Dr. Carr, how did you learn about ASEA? Like who shared ASEA with you?
Actually, it was Dr. Carolyn Hoffman. We were actually at a naturopathic conference together, and I was there with, a colleague of mine, and we just kind of struck up a dinner conversation. And we were kind of, talking shop talk, what's your practice about? What do you do? What's your specialty? And she began to share this great story about her journey and how she was helping people. And because I was already in the business of helping people, it intrigued me because, she started talking about some things that were different than what I had experienced. Typically, what I was seeing is, I see clients for sometimes 3, 6, 4 months or whatever, they have a time frame. And the things that she was showing me was happening in record time. So it really, really piqued my interest. Like, okay, what is this? And so I said, I need to take a look at this.
Wow.
Dr. Carr, because we were talking a little bit before we start recording, and you said something interesting. Is that somebody tried to introduce this to you a few months back? And then, as you just mentioned, Dr. Hoffman brought it up. So what was the difference? I guess maybe then, because I've heard that before, a lot of people are introduced to it and, they're like, oh, I don't need this or what have you. Then later on, they come back around. So explain what the difference then and now.
It's funny because in my practice, like I say, I see clients every day. And so when someone does a cold call and they kind of just come into the office and can I drop a sample by? I'm busy. And so I didn't take the time. And because I have so many other tools, I'm into the world of healing. And so I just thought it was just another thing that was like the thing that I was already using that was working. And so I didn't really give it the time of the day, which, I can't say that, the timing is what it is. I just believe that it was supposed to happen that way. But definitely connecting with Dr. Hoffman, she was able to support where we on that same level. We help people that have really scary events. And so if you tell me that you rubbed some gel on your shoulder and now you have mobility and you're great and your life is amazing, that's fine. But I've rubbed things on my shoulder before or rubbed something on somebody else. So I didn't know it was any different. So when she started talking shop talk, like, okay, hey, I'm like, whoa, okay. this is serious. I'm really, I was so grateful to meet her, to have met her on that journey out there. And I had to go 3,000 miles
Uh-huh.
to say, it's almost like the sign that you see on the parkway when you don't need an air conditioning. Every day you're passing, the same sign. And the minute your air conditioning breaks down, it's like, huh, there's the sign. I need that. I'm gonna call that company. Meanwhile, you've been passing it for every day for a year.
Yeah.
So maybe it was something
Uh-huh.
like that. I don't know.
Yeah. So had you heard of redox or redox signaling before?
Just not even a great big, not a lot of detail about it. No, just knew that it was something that, the body did. But
Mm-hmm.
I like everybody finds out, the fact that it can be, bottled and then taken,
Mm-hmm.
definitely not any of that.
Right.
Nothing like that before. And so what I was doing was I was using supplements that were saying they were increasing this redox.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't increase something the way that this product does because it still has to be assimilated.
Right.
And so that's what I'm seeing. That's the difference between somebody taking a supplement, an amino acid based
Mm-hmm.
supplement versus the molecules.
Right.
Yeah.
That doesn't need any help. You still have to digest everything else. So this is amazing.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you. Thank you.
That's a really essential point, isn't it? At some
It
point,
is.
you've got to put something back in order to do the things that you're adding that need to be processed by the thing you got to put back in.
Right.
Yeah,
And if
yeah.
you already have a broken system, you're not assimilating. If you're not assimilating into cell, then even something that says that it's going to do this
Mm-hmm.
is going to have trouble doing it because it is still outside of the system that does it.
Yes.
Mm.
So what kind of sparked you to bring it to I imagine this conversation with Dr. Hoffman was a big part of it. Then you brought it into yourself first. Was that the trajectory? And then you started bringing it to your patients. Is that how you started your sharing process?
I was so super excited. When I tell you, I jumped in the deep end. I bought the biggest pack they had.
Uh-huh.
I was like, I'm going for it, And of course, the first thing I do, because I'm a mom of 8, I'm thinking of my kids. I'm like, oh my goodness, even though some of them are under 15, where, the age starts, I'm like, everybody needs this. So I'm thinking of them. That's why I bought this big pack. And we all jumped in. Everybody. I'm like, okay, you get 2, you get 4, you get we get 8, So I'm thinking like, okay, this is amazing. And so everybody was so excited because they have always been, I guess, my test subjects. Including my grandkids, there's 15 of us. So I'm taking care of people all the time with natural methods and I'm proving them.
Mm-hmm.
And so when my daughter came back with her testimony, my son came back with his testimony, my husband came, it was like I already had about 5 or 6 people before I even sold the first bottle.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It was amazing.
Wow.
And this is within days.
That is phenomenal. And such a spectrum of ages, right?
Right. 37 down to 13. And then, we have the 2 old heads, me and him. And so
And I was wondering in regards to the testimonies that your family has had, is there anyone in particular that stands out that you or your family has experienced thus far?
Oh my goodness. So my daughter has had the woman thing, she's 23 and she's always had issues with that area. Like no matter what I figure, now remind you, I got the world of healing now.
Uh-huh.
So I'm thinking, okay, this oil, that supplement, this, that, the other thing has never been able to get rid of it. Well, the first report came down with her saying, Mommy, I cannot believe this. I don't have any discomfort. I have nothing. She said, this is the first time since I was 12. That was monumental to me. That was huge. That might not be a big deal to a guy, but what that means is hormonal balance.
Yeah.
And that can mean for anybody.
Yeah.
So, and then we have, her emotions being on point. Like can be kind of bitey, but she's been so even. No argument, no back talk, just a great mood. And I'm like, wow, all it took was a couple of ounces. It was amazing. It's amazing. A really big deal for our family to see that. And that's within the first week.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that was in the first
That is
week.
amazing.
That was in the first week. We hadn't had it a week, and of course, I'm telling them all the things they can do. So now they're putting it in their hair, and oh my
Mhm.
goodness, my hair is growing. It was thin here, and oh my goodness, thank you. My family is. I don't have to remind anybody
Mhm.
to take Redox.
That's amazing, especially so Erica's that so quickly that
Yes.
everybody has jumped on board. You said something because what I love about ASEA is I always talk about this is the protection aspect of it because that was initially what intrigued me. And can you just talk a little bit from your your expertise why this is so impactful for protecting our health?
Okay. Well, one of the great things I've experienced is treating my own self and my family from being that perspective of being, let's be proactive.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, I haven't taken over-the-counter medicine in over 12 years. So it's because of my proactivity that I can say that. So if I get a headache, it's a big deal. I don't know what a headache is.
Wow.
And so I live there. I expect my body and I treat my body like I want it to be in balance. So when you talk about being proactive, that's how we should all live. We should all live with 10 years in front of us. Like, how do I want to live these next 10 years? Do I want to be able to care for myself? I have an aging parent and she's 90, but I put her on it before she got her box. I gave her a bottle.
Right.
And already I'm seeing amazing results. So I've always been proactive with her. So protection, we don't want to get the scary report. We don't even want to have to go there. And so what we have to do is take care of ourselves first so that the body doesn't fall prey to that. So that's my whole life's mission, is to not only, instill that in my children, because I think that this is getting lost in the generation. And so to implant in them the truth of, you can take care of yourself. Self-care is the best care.
Yeah.
That's like a scripture for us in the house. Self-care is the best care. Take care of yourself. And then you don't have to pass off your care and your power to someone else. And so there's nothing wrong with needing help. But if you take care of yourself, then likely chances that you might not need that help.
That's really, I want to go back to something you also touched on, which we often hear health professionals, we often might say it relative to a struggle we've had for a long time, and then suddenly we turn a corner. That idea of this being the missing link. And for someone like you who lives that idea of leading a proactively healthy life, the aha for you is even more profound, because as you've said, you're living the life that a conscious healthcare practitioner is living. And yet this brought you something different than you had before. Right. Can you speak a little bit more deeply about that missing link piece for people who think they're doing it all and this is just one more thing?
Okay, so I was thinking of a word picture when I think of this journey that has taken just this amazing turn. When you take supplements and you eat food and you drink water, you're thinking of, okay, so these are the things like a hand. Okay, so there's things that need to happen for your cells to receive the water. Just because you're drinking water. I mean, many people that drink gallons of water a day and they're dehydrated. They don't know it because they're drinking the water. So they don't know that their cells are so toxic and their receptor cells are so clouded that they're not receiving water into cells. Eating food. If you're not digesting food, you can have the best diet in the world. Like, you eat clean, you grow your own food, you raise your own animals. I mean, you do it all to the hill. But if you're not digesting your food, you're dirtying your blood, because it's all just going right into a place that's very warm. So you think our body's at 98. So it basically grows candida and fungus and mold. exercising. If you have inflammation in your veins and you're not aware of it, you can actually hurt yourself if you push yourself too hard. So what I look is at ASEA as, and this is the way that I've kind of thought of it, because I've thought very deeply about it. It's foundation, but it's also a filler. So where your cells are not receiving the water, it is now causing the body to detox so that the cell is now receptive. You don't even know what's going on. And all of a sudden, and every client that I have that was dehydrated is now no longer reading dehydrated. So I have markers that look, it says, you're dehydrated. He's like, I drink my water. I was drinking water when I walked in. Well, now their cells are receiving that water, but they had no idea. So it's a filler. It's almost like wherever the holes are, it's going to cause the body to fill in the gaps. So even if I miss a supplement, like, you know what, I missed that. The body's not going to miss it because the body knows what it needs. So it's going to take that signaling to grab it from somewhere else. So basically, it's helping me be a better practitioner to my clients, because now I have the intelligence of your body working with me as you're taking Redox.
That's phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
I've heard a lot over the last 4 years. I've heard a lot of explanations for ASEA, and that was a different one and a very powerful one and a very elegant one. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to share. I mean, I've spent a lot of time in quiet, just like, what just happened? It really has been a profound change, not only in my mind, but what is in my hand now? How many people can I now help that are going to come my way with these mystery whatevers, and they instantly feel better? One of my colleagues joined me yesterday in her journey, and she said, you know what? I didn't wake up as stuffy. I mean, she hadn't had 2 doses yet, and she's already, but I can tell you, profound changes are happening under the surface. Because for you to just say you feel better, do you know what your body just did? You really don't know. But see, I get to see behind the curtain. For a person to say they feel better, a lot has changed. But to them, they just feel a little better. I got a little bit more. I got some energy. I'm sleeping better. Your body came from way over here, and it is now centered. It's profound. It's profound. I mean, I am amazed.
Wow.
And some of these changes you're describing would ordinarily, sometimes they may not have occurred, but they're also taking less time to occur when they do occur. Is that
That's
correct?
the biggest. That is the correct. That is correct. See, because I consider myself, because I really, really, my heart is to help, and I'm really, really getting into helping that individual. My stuff is not cookie cutter. I look at the individual and what they got going on and what they need. I study them emotionally. I try to help them physically, and whatever they need, I'm really into it. So I consider myself to be different than most. But the stuff that I'm seeing is happening so quick. We can get to work on stuff that you may have wanted to work on and we didn't even have it in the plan, because it's happening so quick. I had one client that started last week. She only had a couple of days under her belt, and her range is already down 30 points.
Wow.
Tell us what that means, her range.
So range, when you do biofeedback, you have a healthy range. So basically it's 5 to 20 for the system that I use. So her range was a 75, which is saying that her body is expending a lot of energy in a fight. So if you had it below the range, then basically the body is already exhausted. So it goes from fighting, kind of like humans do, fight, and then you're so exhausted you can't fight. So because she's, I guess she's a little younger than I am. So she's a massage therapist, and she's, into natural already. She's doing the best she could, but she just still wasn't feeling right, feeling very wrong. And so she came to me. I do the first scan. I range is 75. Remember, it's not supposed to be over 20. So every organ is screaming, I need help. I'm about to just burn out. Everything is on fire. And so I started on a protocol. I fit in some of her needs. But by the way, I didn't have to give her as much because I knew the redox was going to show up and show out. So instead of 10 supplements, she probably had 5. Because now I'm just wanting to see, I'm just intrigued. What's your body going to do with this? You know, I'm all into it. And so, okay, so I give, and so she comes back for recheck and her range is in the 40s. That does not happen. It doesn't happen. This is less than 2 weeks. It doesn't happen because the body takes time, especially when you're older. The older you are, the longer it takes. That has not been the case. I'm seeing record time. And so I'm even seeing balancing emotions. People just feel better. They're happier, you know, because you know it's dealing with that serotonin. And so balance, that's all it is. The body's just saying, oh my gosh, I'm seeing liver markers that were way out. Liver's like streamlined. She's in range. That's a hard organ to deal with. If 2,000 functions, she can't take off.
Wow.
So when you're working with liver, it takes a long time. It is said it takes a year to regenerate that organ because it's so busy. Over 2,000 functions, it's always busy. So when you can streamline the liver in 8 weeks or in 2 months or, you know, whatever time, that's huge. That's huge.
One thing, I'm not sure how much we can get into this for compliance. And if we can't, you know, obviously you'll let us know. But what is it like having that extra validator, you know, with the measuring the blood, looking at the blood, to be able to show the clients and just like because things are going, we know, you know, understanding redox that it's having a positive impact on the body, even if somebody doesn't feel anything. And for people watching that might not know what that is, could you speak on that a little bit in your experience?
Well, the reason why I do live blood analysis is to basically invite the client into their own body. I get to see and they get to see. So on this other wall is the 45-inch screen TV. And we sit, and this is my microscope, and we sit and we look together at all the indications of what is potential. So there are certain things that happen in the blood that are indicators of what could be going on. Well, the scan has already given me information of those same indicators. So basically, it's a match made because it's like, okay, scan said this, I see that. Now we know, we confirm. So when you tell somebody your liver is 82, that doesn't really mean anything to them, even if you tell them 5 to 20. Like, okay, I realize it's a higher number and wow, it's scary, but I don't know what that means. But when you see target cells that say liver and they're all over the place, then we know, then we're on the same page. You see it and I see it. So we see it together. And so then I invite them into the journey to seeing all of those things just get better. Yeah. Which is the great thing about it. Every week, every 2 weeks, we come in and see, okay, what's not there this week? You know, what got better this week? And so it's one of my greatest joys to see them get the aha moment, like, wow, okay. Because you know what, they go home and they do the work, because it's really, you know, it's maybe my knowledge and my expertise, but it's them that has to go home and take supplements, they have to drink Redox, they have to take walks, they have to eat food. All of that has to happen for us to see what we need to see on the screen. So they're an active participant and they're more willing to be able to see that because they see their own blood. And so that's that validation.
Yeah. Great.
So there's sometimes people have Francesca, were you about to say anything? Okay. So I wanted to ask a question with regard to bringing people along, because sometimes people are so toxic that the taste of the ASEA is off-putting. And I'm wondering if you've encountered that in your practice and how you get people to stay engaged through that.
I had that same person said to me, oh my gosh, I just can't stand it. And I said, if you knew what this was doing, you would not even worry about that taste. She said, well, help me. Explain to me what it's doing. So I go to the scan. I said, okay, we were at 75 and now we're at 40 some odd, you know. Let's see what your body did with the Redox. And she was like, wow, okay. I said, well, try it, you know, because I was first drinking it refrigerated because everybody thinks, I guess, it's in a bottle. Let's refrigerate it.
Mhm.
So we refrigerated it, and it makes it harder to hold for one. And I think it makes the taste do stronger. So everybody in my family, except one daughter who likes everything cold, said, I like mine cold. So we have a bottle for her in the refrigerator. She gets it, and everybody else is counter because it doesn't seem
Me
like it's
too.
as strong.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
My husband drinks his cold. I drink mine hot.
Yeah.
Room temperature.
Room temperature. Yeah, I mean,
Sure.
yeah, it's and you know, it's funny because usually people that like it cold like everything cold.
Mhm.
So they're the people that add the ice to the drink, which is usually a mineral deficiency. But anyway, but anyway,
I can
so
see you must be really fun to be around because as soon as somebody says or does something, it's like, and you know what that means?
yeah, some people like it and some people don't. I just, you know, I don't try to badger people, but I do want to educate. That's one thing. I'm a teacher at heart. And I think that I am supposed to be sowing seeds in the world to help people live their best life.
Yeah.
And so if I have something, and my life is a study. I love to learn and I love to give what I have. And so even if I get to sow that seed of, okay, this is how you can be better. I think that I do well with that because it's really out of a heart of, I'm not doing this. I'm sharing.
Yeah.
I'm sharing, and that's how I share ASEA. I share out of a heart of love and a heart to really want to help them to live their best life. And we got some people that are out here that are really suffering.
Yeah.
And this missing link that she talked about, that's the first thing that came to me. This is the missing link.
So where do you see your future with ASEA, and with just how unique and being the missing link? Where do you see ASEA as a company and a product going in the future?
Oh my goodness, you know, I've just planned to continue to share. Um, you know, I'm sharing with people that want to be sharers.
Mhm.
And I'm also sharing with people that just, you know, for me as a client, seeing clients, it's a little bit different. So
Yeah.
I'm just sharing with everybody. You know, I'm sharing with family, I'm sharing with friends, I'm sharing with anybody that comes my way. But I see is lifelong for me, if that's the question. If that's the quick answer, it's lifelong. There's certain products that I have in my, you know, arsenal, because if y'all could see my arsenal, you would think that, okay, mind you, I have a lot of tools
Yeah.
and have a big family. So we have a lot of tools. So ASEA is mine for life, you know, and it just, when I went there, I had to automatically want to pray for the company. Cause it's like,
Mhm.
man, they need protection because this is
Mhm.
amazing.
Mhm.
You know, this is amazing. I don't want this to be ever taken away. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just, you know, I lift those leaders up and pray that they have the strength to continue, because it must be massive to hold this vision up, you know, and to be this light, you
Yeah.
know, this force for good in the world. That's a big calling. And I joined them in that. I joined them in that, and however I can. But yeah, see is my whole family is like, okay, this is it, you know. Yeah.
Well, Dr. Carr, I just want to thank you so much for taking time today. We can feel your heart.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
And I know anyone listening to this in the future is going to do the same. So we really, really appreciate your time, your heart. You're joining this ASEA mission with all of us,
Yes,
because
yes.
it's wonderful to be in your company. So
Thank you. Thank
thank you
you.
so much for sharing today.
You're so welcome.
And I want to thank everybody who joined the Redox Health Movement today to remember to like and share and come back next time. We look forward to seeing you.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye,
Bye-bye.